guys, how are you? Hope you're all doing very well. This afternoon I'm going to be doing a review of a horror film from Australia, English language, released in the year 2014, directed by Chris Sun, and this movie is called Charlie's Farm. So Charlie's Farm starts off with a group of friends who want to go camping, and two of the group, who are the two males, they want to visit a place called Charlie's Farm. Now, Charlie's Farm has been shrouded in history, a very morbid history. Back in the 80s, a little boy named Charlie, his parents were murdered by an angry mob, and the rumour has it that Charlie escaped and he was never seen again. So the myth is that he is looking for vengeance and he's picking off tourists who are around that area. So they're captivated by this. They don't want to tell the girls before they leave because they fear that they won't want to go. So they go on the road trip. It takes about 5 hours to drive there, and they finally get to their destination. The women are furious, but eventually the curiosity from them even leads them to accompany the two males as they go to Charlie's Farm. So they camp there, and they're about to find out whether or not this myth is true. So whether or not that is the case is something you're going to have to find out for yourself, because that's as far as I'm going with my synopsis. Now my thoughts on Charlie's Farm. This movie I've been anticipating for a very, very long time. Now I am a fan of Chris Sun. I liked his film Daddy's Little Girl. Although that suffered from a few problems, I thought the gore effects were really well done. It was very hard hitting, and it left you a little bit to think about as well. So his movie Charlie's Farm was very much hyped up. It had cinema releases before the DVD was released. I couldn't go there, unfortunately, so I was left very impatiently waiting for the arrival of the DVD. Now, this has an all-star cast. You've got Kane Hodder, who used to be Jason. He's also on a lot of other horror films. You've got Bill Moseley, who plays a cameo. You've got Tara Reid, and you've got Nathan Jones, who was in Troy, and more recently he was in Mad Max, that big mammoth guy. So that was reason for the excitement for this movie, and a lot of people had hyped this up. So I thought, yeah, I can't wait to see it. It was released in the middle of June in Australia. Since I'm in Argentina, I had to wait for it to be released in Australia, and then I had to wait for it while my family sent it over to me. So I finally got the chance to see it, and what I got was a pretty fun slasher film. Now, a lot of people out there were complaining about this is a very cliched horror film. This is generic. It's not really treading new waters. But I don't think it was trying to be. This is a throwback to good old-fashioned slasher films such as Friday the 13th, Halloween, Jason Voorhees, Michael Myers. There wasn't a lot to those films. It was more like a backstory and then the killing spree. And that's exactly what you get in this film. I thought the backstory to Charlie's Farm was excellent. You've got these two parents of Charlie who are complete maniacs, and Bill Moseley plays the father, and I thought he was great in the film. It actually reminded me of Otis Driftwood from Devil's Rejects, just the sleaziness. He's just this really insane guy, and I really like Bill Moseley. I was a little bit unfortunate that he only plays a cameo, but I've been told that in Chris Sun's next film, Boar, he plays a major role, or more of a role than he did in this film. So I really like the backstory, and that's something that you want from an iconic slasher villain. And so as the movie goes along, I thought it was a little bit slow. It takes about an hour to get into the good parts, but that hour, it still had some purpose because it does give you a little bit of insight into the mythology of Charlie's Farm. And I actually thought Charlie's Farm, it has the potential to be a franchise, because the villain is a franchise sort of player, because he's very, very memorable. You get some slasher films that struggle from having a memorable killer, and that's the biggest problem. For me, what I want from a slasher film is a great killer and some great kills. I don't need character development. This is a slasher. The victims of this villain are cannon fodder. So you've got Friday the 13th and Halloween. They didn't really go into detail about characters, and they're there for the villain to dispatch in horrible ways, and that to me is what a slasher is, and I thought this delivered from what I wanted from a slasher. I thought the characters weren't unlikable. That's something I really appreciated. There was one guy who was a larrikin, who was a bit of an idiot. He's cracking jokes all the time. Some of the jokes worked. I thought the script was fairly decent, although it doesn't need a script. This movie is not going to win an Oscar, and nor does it want to. It knows exactly what it wants to be. It is a throwback to classic slashers, and it's something that Australia haven't had. Chris Sun wanted to make this film something for Australia that they could be proud of in the slasher genre, and I thought he achieved that. I thought the kills were absolutely fantastic. The gory effects were done in practical manner, so if you're appreciative of practical gore effects and you're going to like it, there's a tiny bit of CGI, but the actual good kills are full-on practical effects. I thought they were outstanding, they were brutal, and it left me gobsmacked, especially one kill that I'm not going to give away, but I just thought, wow, I wasn't expecting that, and God, did it look good. It looked really, really good. So the gore effects are absolutely fantastic. If I have a little problem with the kills is that there weren't enough. There are still some very good kills, as I said, but it does take a while to get to the kills, and when the kills happen you think, yeah, that was really good, but you still want a little bit more. Hence the reason why I think this should be a franchise, because in the next level, then the next film, hopefully it starts to crack it up again. But what I loved about Charlie's Farm the most was the fact that the villain was absolutely outstanding. Charlie Wilson, as I said, the background history of this psychotic killer was absolutely fantastic. Even as a child, he looked really, really creepy. I thought the makeup effects were great. And Nathan Jones, I thought Chris Sun couldn't have casted a better Charlie Wilson than getting Nathan Jones. This guy is an absolute mammoth of a human being, and he just reeks of intimidation. And when Charlie's on screen, it scares you, just his presence. He's just so big and he just hulks over everybody. There's a scene where Kane Hodder and Charlie are actually together, and you can see that Charlie just absolutely towers over Kane Hodder. So that shows you how big this guy is. And I just thought it was a great villain, and that's why Charlie's Farm worked for me. I thought the cinematography was great. His other film, Daddy's Little Girl, that had a bit of an amateur quality about it with the acting slightly. But this movie, it seems to kick up a notch. You know, with more money, he really does have a lot more to play with. I thought the cinematography was great. He captures the outback in a very good manner, and I just thought the setting was great, the villain was great, and the kills were great. And as opposed, as is the case with the generic sort of storyline, yes, it is generic, but it is a slasher film. It's a fun slasher film, and it doesn't try to be anything that it's not. It's not going to win any Oscars. It's not trying to have twists and turns. It's just a good old-fashioned, gory, brutal, fun ride that I'm sure a lot of horror fans out there are going to enjoy. So overall, for Charlie's Farm, I'm going to give it 3 stars. 3 stars is probably the highest grade I can give a slasher because, as I said, there's not much to it. Just good villain and good kills, and that's exactly what Charlie's Farm delivers. So I really liked it. I thought that it was worth the wait. Please go out there and see it and support Australian directors. Alright guys, that's my review. Hope you enjoyed it. So next time, keep watching movies, and I'll see you later.